What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Dancing in the Moon Knight, our Moon Knight review, the final episode, guys, the season finale. Is this a series finale? I don't know. They kind of have a teaser at the end. It's a limited time series, but I feel like the show probably had a lot of subscribers. Disney Plus probably going to cash in and get that bag. We'll see, guys, but at least for now, what is potentially the final episode of Moon Knight. So thanks for checking out the channel, guys. Thanks for checking out Project Potter. Go check out the other content on the channel, of course. Like, comment, subscribe. You already know the deal. If you haven't seen the series before, guys, what I do is kind of go through my thoughts on every episode of Moon Knight. It's a mini series, so this is the sixth and final episode, again, for this season, possibly the series. I go through my favorite character, my least favorite character, and I give it a score out of 10, guys. So jumping right into it here, guys, we're back in Egypt, and we are back with long-haired Ethan Hawke as, I think, Harrow, Mr. Harrow. I was going to say Dr. Harrow, but we'll get to that. There are some things, I think, in this episode that I really enjoyed, like the score for this episode. Guys, the Moon Knight theme is so cool. And, I was, humming it after the episode. I just love it. And I feel like it's so good. It reminds me of Doctor Strange's theme, oddly enough, honestly, with Multiverse of Madness coming out this week. It was just instantly iconic and instantly awesome. And I think it's really, really cool. And every time he suits up is awesome. And I just love the dynamic between Mark and Steven is so great. Some things I did not like in this episode, guys. I think Ethan Hawke is a great actor. I think his doctor character is very good. I guess I really like his persona when he's Harrow, the long-haired Harrow who's trying to take over the world too. I just felt like he was kind of a little bit of a cookie cutter villain, and it didn't make sense to me that he was serving Khonshu previously. We didn't get any backstory. Now that the season is over and possibly the series is over, we didn't get really any backstory on Harrow, what makes him tick, what's going on here. And I guess it kind of explains that in the end, where this is potentially just all a dream. I think Ethan Hawke's a great actor, and I think his performance is great, but I never really felt super connected to why Harrow is trying to get awaken Ahmed. And I guess at the end we find out that they want to suck all the souls or judge everyone at once, as they say, which is creepy, because they grab the arms and it's anyone who I guess does not have balanced scales, their souls go up and it feeds Ahmed. And then, guys, we just go straight Power Rangers at the end of this episode, right? Where it's you got Harrow and Mark/Steven fighting at the end there. Ahmed is giant from all the souls. And then you get Khonshu who comes back. And guys, did I miss Khonshu so much? Let me tell you, I wasn't sold on the voice initially in the pilot, guys. Khonshu's voice is awesome. And every time he spoke, it felt like a godly presence. It felt like this booming voice. And it just felt like everything Khonshu was saying was important, and I just thought it was awesome. And I thought he looked great. The CGI, I think, was incredible. But I missed Khonshu so much. I know probably for budgetary reasons they took him out of a couple episodes, but I think that kind of hurt the story. Another thing I didn't love, though, was Layla's character. Let's not get it twisted, guys. Her suit is awesome. It's so sick. It's almost kind of like a Wonder Woman mixed with almost like a Captain America, where she's got the shields that come up, or the wings. Actually, sorry, not Wonder Woman mixed with Falcon, really. Where she's got the wings that come up there and she's using them as bullet stoppers. And there's the scene where the girl's are you an Egyptian superhero? And she goes, I am. I am, dude? That's what you said? Come on, man. You couldn't have come up with a quippy line. I just thought that Layla's character, I think it didn't feel earned when she got it. Khonshu was hey, you can be my avatar. And she's nah, dude, Mark didn't trust you and I'm not going to trust you. And I'm okay, cool. That's a good answer. But then the fact that she just got into the base, the fact that she just took Khonshu, who was just turned to stone or whatever, and she just stepped on him. How did she know that breaking it would set him free? What if it killed Khonshu? You don't know. That was weird to me. And then her just being undetected for the most time, and Harrow turning around a couple times and knowing that she's there but not doing anything. Guys, can we talk about the horrible scene in the beginning? She's on the convoy, and this is after Harrow gets the staff or whatever, and he's let's heal the world. And I'm obviously not what that means, but okay. And then they're going through, and then that weird scene where the convoy is blocking the road. And then he's I don't need to show you my papers. You need to show me your soul. Slams the staff down. And then everyone, I guess everyone gets judged and the souls go up. But then there's a good guy who's left, and he's this is the face of a good man. And he's you don't need this anymore. He takes his walkie. But then there's dead soldiers on the ground who are now being possessed, not Khonshu, but through one of the gods. And one of the dudes is just straight up on the ground. He's please save us. no, you shouldn't do that. You should go over there and do something else. It's like it felt so low budget and so it was so stupid looking, guys. I was like, this is amazing that this made the cut. Like I couldn't believe it because there weren't any like special effects. There wasn't like an aura. It was like literally just a dude on the ground, and then like it's like they say action in a play or whatever, and he just comes up. I thought that was so terrible, and I hated that scene. But overall, guys, I really enjoyed the finale. I thought the stuff when Khonshu and Mark reunite, it's great, and then I love how like Steven hops in, and I love how they have different suits. I love that we have the Moon Knight classic suit and then Steven's suit, which is like classier. But I love how they can like switch at will now. And Steven's like, oh, actually, we're actually a package deal. So that's kind of how it works. We did save your life and all. Obviously, guys, the beginning I didn't touch on the scene behind me where Mark is there and the hippo lady is like, hey, you got here, this is your eternal peace, you're good, you don't have to worry about Steven anymore. And he's like, it just doesn't feel right, man. He's like, so Steven just is sand forever?
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
He just stays there forever while I get to sit in this field. And she's like, yeah. And for me, I'm like, this seems like it's going to be real boring after like 5 minutes. There's no TVs in here. There's no iPhone. They don't have any PS5s up here in this field. Like, what are you supposed to do in your downtime? Mark is just like, nah, dude, I can't leave him out there. And so it's cool because he goes back, and then we get that moment where he's like, I'm sorry. And he does like a Alfred, like, I failed you. And he sits there. They like link up like that meme, or like that you guys know what I'm talking about, the picture, I'll put it in here. It's like the power of their heart and blah blah blah, and it unfreezes them. And then we get a funny scene where like the wave is coming for them and the hippo comes back. I love the scene where they're going through the door and Steven goes, yeah, hippo. It's like, this is great, dude. I was like, what a wacky adventure. I love how they kind of like not only made the show funny, but they just leaned into like the gods, and they kind of like had some freedom to tell the story they wanted to do. I just thought some pieces didn't quite hit. But overall, guys, I thought the action scenes were great. Again, I love Moon Knight and Steven switching, and then Harrow is like taking down Mark, and he puts the staff like on his chest, and he's like sucking his soul up through his Moon Knight chest. And I thought that was crazy. He does the blink thing, and then we get the third personality. I didn't love this part. I like the idea, but I didn't love this part that like they were defeated, and then all of a sudden he blinked and he's holding Harrow and everyone's dead, and then Layla's like, Mark, what the hell was that? And he's like, it wasn't me. And then Steven's like, it definitely wasn't me. And so it's like the third personality. We find out at the end of the episode, this is Jake Lockley, who is like a more violent version of Mark, like Mark's alter ego. And he like speaks different languages, because we get that great scene at the end where they go into the psychiatric ward. They take Harrow out, bring him in the limo, and then they just like, he's like, oh, let me introduce you to my friend Jake Lockley. And then he turns around and it's Oscar Isaac's face, obviously, and he says something in a different language, and then he shoots him a few times with a silencer as they drive away, and the license plate said Spectre. And it's like, this is a fun series, dude. Like, I had a good time with this, and it was cool. Not everything hit, but a lot of it did, and I thought a lot of the visuals were cool. It seemed like the whole thing was to get to Amit, and then like we finally get Amit, and I wasn't like super impressed. I didn't feel like Amit was super powerful. It was a little weird, but again, Harrow's decision to like, he was with Khonshu. We never found out why he was with Khonshu, what happened, what went wrong with them. Like, it's so weird. And then for him to like be away from Khonshu just so that Harrow can be like, oh, I want to serve you, Amit. Like, I'm like, why would you want to be like enslaved to this god when you didn't want to be with Khonshu? So I thought that was weird, but I thought the CGI stuff, the big ass Power Rangers Megazord battle in the back, where literally like Harrow and Mark and Steven are fighting, and then in the back it's like giant Khonshu getting his ass whooped back there. But that was really cool. He's got like the giant specter. Not everything hit in this finale, but a lot of it did. And I just really enjoyed the series as a whole overall. All right, guys, my favorite character, dude, once again, Oscar Isaac. I mean, Mark and Steven. It's so crazy that you're watching the same actor play two different characters, because with very similar facial animations. Again, it's not like one of them has a giant beard and one of them is 8 feet tall. And it's really is like they copy and pasted Oscar Isaac, and one of them has an accent, but their personalities are so different. But you really felt for them. Like, you don't feel like Mark and Steven, you feel like have to be together, right? It's like there's no way that we can just leave Steven in the sand here.
I don't like sand.
And Mark, this is Mark's eternal peace, and it's like you knew he wasn't going to settle for that dude. To go back there and just to see them together again, they have this like really fun dynamic. And again, it's just Oscar Isaac twice, and obviously they had a couple shots where like they used a body double or like a head double because he was like looking one way, and then Mark would look one way and Steve would look the other. So like they don't have two versions of Oscar Isaac looking this way, but when they did, it looked great. Like I didn't notice that there was like any cutting or anything. So Oscar Isaac, I think, put on the performance of a lifetime. I think he's great. I am now like so invested in Moon Knight where I'm like, I want to see Moon Knight like in one of the big movies. Like I cannot wait till inevitably he shows up in a cameo and like the next Civil War, whatever they're gonna call it. And like it's like his theme plays and Mark shows up and Steven shows up and it's like Oscar Isaac has the obviously the acting ability. It's just fantastic. And I'm so excited for this character, welcoming them into the MCU family. And I think he did just an amazing job as Mark, Steven, and then at the end, Jake. Hey guys, my least favorite character, once again, it's Layla. I just never really cared about Layla. I thought it was really weird that she was there. Her super Egyptian superhero moment did not feel earned to me. I don't even know. She had that scene where she like was also being possessed, or maybe like she had split personalities, and it's like, are we exploring this now in the finale? Like we didn't lead up to this. It was weird. She got taken over, I think, by a god, but it's like, who was that god? It wasn't Khonshu and it wasn't Ahmet. And so I'm like, who is this? It wasn't explained well. I thought that was rushed. I thought her moving around was like really weird. And then like for Khonshu to be like, hey, do you want to help me out or want to be my avatar? And she's like, nah. And I'm like, okay. But it just I don't know, it just felt off. And I just never really cared about Layla. And it seemed like her dad's storyline was like rushed too. And I don't know. I just think the show could have entirely worked without Layla, and I just felt like she was kind of getting in the way here. So all due respect to the actress, I don't think she did a poor job. I just think that like her character was just not needed in this series. That brings us to the score. This is a 9-2 for me. I think for the most part, the finale stuck the landing. This was like a 45-minute finale. I think it was the shortest MCU Disney Plus show finale, which is interesting because they had so much to tie up. I think they did a decent job. Some things definitely felt rushed, and it's like, man, a couple of the like slower episodes, I'm like, I feel like we could have used some more exposition on this, like Layla's character or her dad or everything that's going on there. But obviously, Oscar Isaac is the star of the show. We didn't get any background on Harrow. Like we did, I thought we were going to get a flashback scene or like what's going on there. It's confusing at the end, so I'll have to look up like theories. But these are just my like initial reactions to it, guys. Where obviously it comes back to, I think Mark at the end where he's tied to the bed and he's like, Steven, are you there? And he's like, oh, it worked. And it's like, is Steven the goldfish now? I think he's just with them, but I was kind of confused too. I'm like, did we imagine all that? It was interesting though, because like I was like, oh, it was all just a dream or whatever, because they go back to Harrow's office when he's a doctor and he's like, why am I bleeding? There's like 3 different accents going on there, I think, or at least I picked up on. So I think he was like alluding that like it's all within my mind or something. But he's like, do you think Khonshu and Ahmed are real? And he's like, no. And then that's like, he's kind of convinced of that. So it goes from like Steven and Mark being in like a psychiatric ward to then at the end Harrow being in there. So it was all a little too confusing for me to be like, oh, that's really cool. I was kind of like, huh, okay. And then like obviously a third personality at the end to show up and kill Harrow because he's like, oh, Khonshu can't hurt me anymore. And he's like, think again. And then he shoots him with the silencer. So that was cool. It was badass. But I will say, guys, I really enjoyed the action. I thought outside of a couple scenes like that bad convoy scene, I thought it was just terrible. Like leaning into what it is, right? Going to Egypt, having a freaking Power Rangers giant battle, dude, where Ahmet literally is like eating the souls, and then it's just like going up. It felt like old school 90s cartoon, like this is Power Rangers. This is straight up like a giant mech battle or Zord battle or whatever it is, dude. Like that was really cool to me, and I thought it was interesting because that alone would have been dumb. But that with Mark and Steven fighting Harrow, I think was cool. I don't love how they kind of copped out and like blinked to have Jake show up and basically wreck everyone. I would have liked a little more explanation on that, but overall, guys, I wasn't crazy about Ahmet coming out because I feel like there was so much build up to that, and that's like that was Harrow's main point. And then like I get the idea was there of like basically world domination or whatever it was, but Khonshu was like, what is the point if the world is empty and stuff like that. So I thought Khonshu was awesome. I'm so glad he was back. But for the most part, I think this hit, and I just had a great time. I mean, honestly, the credits rolled and I had a smile on my face. Like I had a great time with the series. So I think it's a strong ending to not my favorite MCU show, but definitely I'd probably put it up there right behind Loki as my second favorite, and I just had a blast watching it. Okay, guys, well, that's it. That's Dancing in the Moonlight. So this is probably the last episode. Obviously, if there's going to be a season 2, which I would not be surprised, I think they wrapped it up nicely. I think it's a good introduction, and I think they should just move on and have Mark and have Oscar Isaac make some cameos or some cool appearances, similar to a la like a Doctor Strange in the MCU movies going forward. I don't think a season 2. I just don't know if they have enough storytelling. Like, I don't know where they would go with that. I don't think the supporting cast is strong enough now that Harrow's dealt with, unless they do it like almost like an anthology where they obviously they bring Mark and Steven back, but like if they bring in a new villain for season 2, I could kind of see that working. But I'd be okay if that was the end of the series and it's like cool. That's like the ending scene where he gets shot in the Spectre limo and then they ride off. That was cool. So. And yeah, the Moon Knight theme, guys, is just amazing. So, like I said, the score throughout the series was awesome, really, really powerful, and there really was this mysticism to like the entire series. So, I had a blast. I really enjoyed it. Again, it goes right behind Loki for me so far. Disney Plus shows that I've enjoyed the most. So there wasn't really, I think, a bad episode, even though I was a little bit slower. I think episode three or four, I said I wasn't a huge fan of, but I didn't hate it, and I think it really was like something different and something new we haven't seen in the MCU yet. So really excited about that. I think they did a great job setting up the characters. Thanks for checking out Dancing in the Moon Knight. At the time of this recording, guys, when this is going up, happy Star Wars Day. May the Fourth be with you, dude. Keep an eye out. Maybe some Star Wars content coming up after this. I don't know. But either way, guys, thanks for checking out Project Potter. I've been your host, Kyle. Go check out the other content and like, comment, subscribe. You guys already know the deal. And until next time, bit of a package deal, ain't we?